Boys and girls, all us long-winded atheists are live now.
So. That's right. Everybody's just talking and talking.
Let's see what these guys are doing. That's it.
Yeah. There's certain people that every time they show up on my stream, I'm like, look how legitimate I am now because they're here. It's like, you're like,
yeah, okay.
He's got this girl on there too, and Jay.
Yeah, it's getting worse.
Something with truth in the name.
Oh, and we went down to 5 people watching as soon as we went live.
I know. Yeah, they're all pretty much over there at.
Yeah, he had
like James's.
Well, we had 11 people waiting at one point, but anyway, this is about Sal Cordova's brain is obviously turned to mush. I think it's old age. A lot of people, of his type, tend to get really burned out, and the brains just start to turn to mush when they get older, and it's tragic, and it isn't something that we're going to laugh about on this channel because it's tragic. I laughed. Did I laugh?
You did.
I can't tell if you're being sarcastic or not.
I know you can't.
That's his default. That's his default attitude, Andrew.
Yeah,
you should know that by now.
Kind of my default.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyway,
I can't tell many things.
And just because he's being sarcastic doesn't mean he's not being truthful.
That's truthful.
So there are a whole bunch of things on this debate, but the thing that I wanted to discuss in particular is Cordova keeps coming up with this protein argument, like he thinks he's really got something, and nobody that is not blocked on his channel is pushing back on it. These guys just listen to him and they just put up with it. But let me see, you asked me to summarize the debate. Now there were a couple of things. So Aron wanted to talk about phylogeny, Noah's Ark, created kinds, and they would not answer his phylogeny challenge, which is to tell him exactly where do these species, how do you divide the lines between all these different families and species, dogs and cats and whatever. And Sal Cordova and Cindy wanted to talk about cell biology. It's like Sal admits. Where does he concede? Let me see.
By the way, his Aron Ra's partner there in the debate was Dr. Chris Thompson. Yeah. I believe it's Chris Thompson.
And he's got a website, right?
And he did a pretty good job. I mean, who am I to say? He's a neurologist, or at least a neuroscientist. So that's a great. In fact, we ought to get him on here to talk to him about a lot of the issues you like to talk about. Speed, what do you think?
I would love to talk to him. That would be great because he's studying basically the evolution of the brain and comparative morphology in brains, nervous systems in animals, vertebrates, which is
interesting.
Incredible. Yeah.
Yeah. For some reason, Sal doesn't know why he studies salamander brains.
Yeah.
Which is, to me, an idiotic question for somebody who's supposed to be a biology person.
Well, Sal was pointing out, no, it wasn't salamanders. It was. Oh, was he asking about salamander brains?
They were talking about model animals, I think. And sometime during that after show thing that Jay played yesterday, he mentioned salamanders and just kind of wondered why they mess with salamanders if he's interested in the human brain.
I think they were talking about aplasia and some other model organism that has very large neurons.
Yeah.
And I forgot what it is. Why did I forget what it is?
You might as well ask why we experiment with disease on mice instead of humans.
Yeah, well, they got into
what kind
that.
of question is that?
They got into that quite a bit.
That's an odd tangent to go off on. Okay.
But at one point, and I'm trying to find it, Cell concedes basically that phylogeny, if you just look at phylogeny and you accept billions of years, then it's slammed down evolution, right? He conceded. But he said, but we got to look at the cells. So then Aron Ra came back and said, okay, if you got to look at the cells, then did Noah have a bunch of cells on the boat? And they said, you're making fun of us. And he said, no, I'm not. You keep going back. Well, we're talking about evolution and you want to keep talking about cell biology. Well, then were there a bunch of cells on the boat? It was a legitimate question. And Aron Ra kept hammering him on that, and they got a little bit irritated with him. And it was kind of interesting. But the thing that kind of gets me is this part here. I guess I'll play it.
Okay, if I could share my screen, maybe I could more directly answer your question, Dr. Chris. I'll try to call you Chris.
Yeah, it's fine.
Just Chris.
All right.
Hold on.
This is
Whatever we say, Danikins. I don't know what it is. I think I know what it is, but Sal kept calling Aron.
Yeah, and he did it
over and over and over and over. Even the next day too. In his after show.
Yeah, and I think it's a matter of disrespect. I mean, anybody can learn to say Aron in about 10 minutes, right?
I suspect there's a lot of passive aggression going on there.
I'm guessing
aggression.
I'm guessing he does the same thing with all pronouns for people when people have pronouns or nouns. That they request that he shows enough respect, to address the person the way they want to be addressed.
So I guess he would probably address me a racial appearance.
Yeah, I think so. So anyway, so I decided to call him Smell and see how he likes that. Smell Cordova.
Touche.
Yeah, touche. So
I kind of like Jen and Truth's, you would have to bark right when I was talking. I kind of like Jen and Truth's way of addressing people. Just call them fuckface Sal, fuckface this, fuckface that. It's a title. It's like saying Mr., except it has just a little bit of disdain mixed in with it.
Okay, let's try to get through this protein thing.
You're right, Leophilus.
again. We have similar.
What?
I said you're right, Leophilus. It does seem intentional.
I'm not denying that of the human and zebrafish. That's the collagen, and we can say it's 75% similar depending on your scoring technique. So, and then you can build these nested hierarchy diagrams, these phylogenetic. It looks like compelling evidence for evolution. But then I showed that there is the problem that the proteins don't have really good. There's not a common ancestor like here. So on the left is collagen, on the right is the zinc finger 136. And like on the left, the glycines are highlighted. On the right, the cysteines and histidines are highlighted. And you can see it's a very distinct architecture. So there's no common ancestry in the proteins. And I think that's problematic. And it's also a probabilistic thing. But to the point.
Okay, so that's his whole argument, is that it's improbable that these things would develop all by themselves, whole, He claims you would have to have a miracle in order for these proteins to just pop up independently, right? So he's claiming that we need a miracle for the cell. And that's why, and that's another good reason to call them Smell, so we don't confuse it with cell. So Smell calls it, basically keeps bringing the discussion back to the cell biology problems that he thinks he's found And he's got these little one-off things. Like he'll concede that if you look at the genes, I mean, it looks like things evolved. Things had a common ancestor. And he even concedes it in this debate. He says, I concede. And then he goes on and starts talking about this bullshit with proteins over and over again.
Well, he's trying to change the subject because he can't win the old line of arguments or the previous lines of argument they used. So, plus, it's like on Saturday when we did our book review, our book overview. There's that in principle contradiction or in principle violation that just kind of renders any talk about it moot. They try to do it with math, like probabilities, but he's also trying to do it with things like, we don't know how this could happen. This is so improbable. It had to have been directed and designed. He's just trying to turn it into an in principle argument to keep from having to argue the facts.
Yep. Okay, and then yesterday he does this.
So first of all, here are some major protein representatives of major protein families. Going from left to right, zinc finger protein, homohexameric helicase, homotetrameric potassium ion channel, polyheterotrimer, list those.
Microtubule.
And this is the diagram Lois was referring to.
Okay, so he does it again and again and again and over and over again.
Again and again and again.
And again.
That's from Batman.
Oh, it just kind of drives me nuts. Okay, so why is this not a problem? Why does nobody? And then he keeps bringing up that Dr. Dan agreed with him. Well, any biologist you talk to would agree with you. Okay. Scott, why are you in first place today? What is wrong?
Why is
you
he
put me there.
big?
I put you there?
There you go.
Get out of there. Stop it.
I'm not doing anything to the screen, so.
I'm blaming you.
Oh, okay. I'll take the blame. It's my fault.
Okay. So back here, I guess I'm going to call it soup because there were. Yeah, why not call it soup? So anyway, there were RNAs basically, and we had peptides, small peptides, right? A lot of and amino acids, and then we had a whole bunch of miscellaneous ATP or just little one-off chemicals that basically had to do with metabolism. So there was some sort of a metabolism, right, going on in volcanic vents, in basically clay cells or little tiny spaces or whatever, wherever that was happening. We had some sort of metabolism happening. And then we had all of these, RNAs and amino acids, and the amino acids were, they were not homochiral, they were heterochiral. There were two different kinds. And there was a whole mixture of chemicals going on. And this basically started to work out in a pathway, that created a replicatable, basically a couple of things. So cell membranes probably popped up in various ways from very early on. And when cell membranes popped up, they encapsulated. Oh my God, what are you doing to me? Stop it. Fucking people. Virginia Beach. Oh, I think it's Cell. It might be Cell.
I don't think he's in Virginia Beach, though.
Well, he's out in Virginia, isn't he? Somewhere.
There's in McLean, Virginia, or something like that.
Yeah, somewhere around there. Anyway, yeah, he's probably calling me with a cease and desist threat or something. Anyway, we're calling him Smell. So we ended up with somewhere along. By the time we got to this line here, we had something that replicated. So it had RNA that replicated and created basically. So that's RNA replication, and it created proteins. It had basically existing information, and it had like sequences of RNA. So there were like multiple sequences of RNA. They weren't even all necessarily connected into one thing, right? And these RNAs would create these various peptides. And these peptides would go back and do various things with the RNA and form structures like ribosomes and tRNAs and things like that that allowed this system to reproduce at some point. So there was a line here where reproduction became important. But the important thing to understand about Cell's protein argument and why it is so fucking stupid, I mean, it's not just ignorant, it's stupid. You know, when you keep repeating the same thing over and over again, when you've been corrected, I have corrected him a dozen times, and I know he's listening, because he'll do a pudding thing in a couple of days about how my brain's turned to pudding or whatever, which indicates that he does listen. But anyway, back here, when these protocells were created, these peptides and RNAs were in the billions, trillions, quadrillions of different types, right? And some of them, a certain select group of them, got together and had something to do with this spark of natural selection, which is where things started to be selectable. That now the things that were important for this replication over here, for this, for what happened after that line, those things were selected for. Okay, and those things ended up becoming more and more popular as we went along. And then somewhere along the line, we're going to end up with basically long strands of RNA or even double-stranded DNA, that a little much further on. And but by this time, all of these different little strands were incorporated into this DNA so that we had multiple protein ancestors. So there was never one common ancestor for protein, nor is this any kind of a problem for biology or evolution. In fact, if you think about his idea, what would it say? If we had a protein common ancestor, like he seems to think we thought we had, we got one protein here, right? And we got one RNA that makes it. So we got a cell with one fucking protein in it. How could a cell with one protein in it replicate? How could a cell with one protein in it have a metabolism? So he seems to think that we thought that this one protein basically evolved into zinc fingers and actin and topoisomerase and collagen and all of that. No. It's just like, am I making this clear? Am I making it crystal clear that is not what happened? That first cell had many, many protopeptides or protoproteins and common ancestors for all of these different families. So there was never a common ancestor. No smell. It was never, no one's ever thought it. No one has ever considered that we had a common ancestor for protein. It's a fallacy of composition. It's to say, okay, if we came from one population of cells, then obviously everything inside the cell also had to have a common ancestor. Does that make sense? That's a fallacy of composition?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What do you think, Andrew?
Of course, you would think it would be a genetic fallacy.
Yeah, kind of a genetic fallacy, yeah. So, but he seems to think it's like a slant, one of his big arguments against evolution.
Is he just trying to be original in something? Because
he is.
Nobody but him seems to make that argument, and there's no scientific basis for it.
I've never heard it from any other creationist ever. It's just his thing. And he keeps repeating it over and over again, along with all his credentials and all the papers that he's participated in and the great scientists he's worked with, and Sanford, who invented the gene gun, who saved billions of people, who has an education that basically stopped in 1970, and he became an entrepreneur. And fuck Sanford. You know, it's just like he goes on and on. So he wants to have this like one thing, you know, that he becomes famous for, and he's just like, oh my god, he's just so full of himself sometimes. But I hope that kind of like puts a nail in the last nail in the coffin of this protein argument. And it would be really nice if one of you people out there, one of you people out there who do still interact with Cell would fucking push back on him when he brings this up, because I never hear it in a debate. Everybody just lets it go.
Well,
And
there's one thing that that may account for that to me, and that's the fact that people don't familiarize themselves with the cellular level things, especially that, subcellular level. Maybe they just don't know enough to be able to counter it. Maybe,
I think
maybe we need you to get in there and teach the atheist science community about that.
Well, it's because they'd never heard it before. So when they first hear the argument, they think, what is he talking about? I got to look into this, right? So yeah, you're right. They've never heard of it before. They're not prepared to address it. They haven't really thought about it. And truth be told, we don't really think about this line back here that I'm talking about, and think about what was in those protocells, those first protocells. And one of the things, like we look out here and we have this homochiral, right? And back here, that wasn't the case. We had a lot of different amino acids, and we didn't just have 20 of them. We had hundreds of them. And out of that group of simpler amino acids are much more likely to be formed, like glycine and the first 6 amino acids, I forget what they are, but they were more likely to be formed, but there were still a lot of other amino acids, and those formed peptides, and those formed complexes with RNAs, and those did things back here in this massive amount of experimentation that was going on in the universe that lasted probably as much as 1 billion years, definitely 500 million years. And if you look at these things basically replicating possibly every 20 minutes if it was hot enough, that's 5 times an hour, 24 hours in a day, 365 days in a year, a billion generations of this sort of experimentation is a lot of experimentation. You want to push back on anything, Andrew, or are you around, or did you give up on us?
Oh, sorry. I just saw something interesting. I don't think I've seen him around before.
Where?
Science Now.
My gut tells me that's Otangelo.
You think that's Otangelo?
Could be, but
Is he in our chat?
Yeah, he posted
or it
something.
could be. I don't know. It's Science Now. We'll just call Science Now. Similarities in gene structure and or composition is not sufficient evidence for common descent, except, there's that thing called inheritability. And we've observed it in the lab, but okay. It's merely an evolutionary assumption used to explain the similarities.
So let's get on to that part. Okay, creationists have evidences, and what they mean by that is little tiny one-off facts, right? That they call it evidences, plural. Okay. Now, when you say it is not sufficient evidence for common descent, you are full of shit. Whoever you are, you're just full of shit right up to your fucking ears. It is definitely evidence for common descent. It doesn't prove common descent. There could be another way that it could have happened. And nothing in science is about proving these things. It is all evidence for. So now, if there was common descent, what we would see is similarities in gene structure and or composition. Therefore, it is logically absolute that this is evidence for common descent. So quit talking out of your ass, whoever you are.
Or a good question might be to ask this person is, what additional evidence to them would be sufficient for common descent. What else are you looking for?
What they're
Why-
talking about is what is sufficient to prove common descent, which isn't how fucking science works. Okay, it is evidence for common descent. Period. That's all we need.
Well, I would push back and say it isn't even the strongest evidence for common descent, or even the full arguments based on what they're saying. They're not really representing it correctly.
Right.
So you're
Just
saying they're
saying-
straw manning?
They're not straw manning it. They're just simplifying it to an extent that the argument that yes, they are correct that similarities alone are not evidence for common descent, but no one is saying that similarities by themselves equal common descent. Like
Yeah,
we've talked
that
before
it
about.
proves it.
Hmm?
We're not saying that it proves it. We're saying it is evidence for. Now, there's one piece of evidence right here, right? And that evidence, okay, we have a hypothesis. If there was common descent, we would see similarities in gene structure and composition. Okay. And that would support our hypothesis that there was common descent. Now, if we saw these phylogenetic trees, statistically coming out, with these perfect little trees, basically, okay, and there's more and more changes as we go backwards, well, then that's another piece of evidence for common descent. Okay, and then if we find a mechanism like gene duplication, basically recombination, sexual mating, all of that stuff, we have more evidence for common descent. So all of these things are evidence for common descent. Okay, by the time you're done, you have this vast network of things, and all you need to do is find one thing that basically shows that it is impossible, and you falsified the theory, right? But we don't have that, so that has not been found yet. Therefore, we have all of these different elements of evidence for common descent over and over again, and they all add up to sort of a network. And that's why we say evolution is a fact. And that's sort of a rhetorical statement that isn't really true, because we can't prove anything in science. We only have evidence for it. Is that clear?
Yeah, I would just push back on one little thing you said and say that like this single line of evidence would falsify. I would say like I said, it's all supporting the same conclusion at this point, to such an extent that even if we were to find something like that didn't quite fit with the theory, then it wouldn't falsify it, but it would need some revision, but
Right.
it wouldn't like absolutely falsify it. Or I mean, I guess it could happen potentially, but that's not typically the case through scientific history. So there's not many examples of that. So I would say even if we did find something like that, then that would just add to our understanding of it, and it would cause us to revise a thing or two. But there are so many lines of evidence at this point, and it all strongly supports common descent, that it wouldn't change it that much, I think.
Well, if we can, creationists do this all the time. Like Cell just did it with his protein.
Right. Yeah, like
So
they act like it does.
So he's got an idea. He had another idea, and it was called that paradox with rats and mice and the signs and the particular signs, right? And so that required looking into, because those things could have been falsifications for common descent. So we looked into it, and what do we find? Well, that's bullshit, because the signs and lines in the rats are perfectly explainable within our theory. And then the protein thing, well, we just got rid of that, so that one doesn't exist. So every time one of these things pop up, you are right, it isn't going to topple the theory, because the theory is so damn strong. I mean,
right.
It's just,
I'm saying the reaction to it is going to be more complicated than that kind of simplistic narrative that they're putting. Oh, if you find this one thing, it topples the entire structure. Well, no, not exactly.
Yeah, that's what they have. Is they have their evidences. Their where they'll cherry pick a quote from somebody and oh my God, Behe did it in and we're going to review that stream, the intelligent design thing where Michael
Oh yeah,
Behe
right.
falsely quotes a man who wrote a book back in 1950 on complexity and the evolution of complexity. And he fucking takes his quote out of context and lies about him entirely. And he's basically lying. And he calls it an evidence, one of his evidences. So you are correct in that. It would not topple it, not just one little tiny paper or fact.
Even though that evidences has been used in a non-apologetic discussion or counter-apologetic discussion on the internet at least once, I hate that word to describe lines of evidence.
Yeah. Evidences. Yeah. And all the intelligent design people and creationists use it. And intelligent design people are just fucking wolves in sheep's clothing. They're creationists masquerading and trying to turn it into a science. And it's really lame what they did. And they spoke at Biola College, and every time they said something, the whole audience would applaud. And then every time the actual scientist said something, it was total silence. It was absolutely amazing. And one of the things that the scientist said is, why are we doing this at Biola, which is a Bible college, for theology, and we're not doing it at, Caltech or something like that?
Well, to be clear, it's not just a Bible college. They do have degrees and things.
They have other programs, but
you do have to sign a statement of faith, I believe, or at least you have theological credits and stuff that are required.
Yeah, they have a vision statement, basically. So
like I was not required to take any Bible courses when I went to 2 state universities in Arkansas, which is to me is kind of a miracle. When I think about it, how did I come out unscathed like that? I wonder now if you have to take Bible courses at any of the Arkansas's state universities because of the climate there. But back then I didn't have to. But I think at a place like Biola, you have to. I know there's Ouachita Baptist College in Arkadelphia, Arkansas, and they definitely had to take a year of New Testament.
I'm kind of actually thankful that not all colleges and universities are like that. Otherwise, I don't know, that concept just seems so bizarre and inappropriate to me, but that's just my opinion.
Well, I believe it's probably appropriate in certain degree programs, but maybe all of them, to take a year of some sort of religious history or religious studies class. But
right.
certainly,
no, that shouldn't matter in a scientific program.
Well, yeah, you're right. Other than it depends on what's in the general education requirements. What the goals are.
I guess that's true. Yeah.
But still, obviously not to be strictly favoring one religion or another. Maybe take a comparative religion class. That would be a good contribution to people's educations. Is if as part of maybe their history line, they have an elective to take a comparative religion class.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I see Paleologos has joined us. Hello. Good to see you.
One other thing that Cell was going on about is Jay Bundy. And he was talking about him like he's crazy and, my life is in danger. And people have said that my life is in danger. Like his life is in danger.
Well, that's the kind of people have said to me that Trump always uses. He's just lying through hypotheticals.
Yeah. Yep. And then so then he goes on, somebody mentioned to, I mentioned to Sal Cordova that I'm a drug addict and an alcoholic, and he's bludgeoned me with it ever since and made fun of it. And so it's that Christian judginess when it comes to mental illness. They don't really believe in mental illness. They think that you're a sinner. Like that's why
it's a character issue that
Right.
people, have sudden swings in their mood and energy level, or that somebody is very slow, sluggish, and has a hard time, just getting out of the house sometimes because they have depression. Mental illness is something you have, not something you are.
Right.
And just very unenlightened.
And so he does it with Jay, who has been who basically donates to this bipolar foundation and admits to being bipolar and is on medication for
and he even advocates for mental illness that way,
right.
that specific diagnosis too, because it is so important to make people aware that mental illness is not a condition of character. It's a condition of chemicals and psychology.
Yep. And here's how he treats it.
I'm starting to get myself pissed off.
Are you done?
I think a good way of putting it probably is it's about oh gosh, great. So you better understand the condition and treat it by actually understanding what it is. And like this should seem obvious, but like you do that, you don't treat it by blaming the person with that condition.
Right. There are about 15 or 20 million or more addicts and alcoholics in this country, and a great deal of them are getting the help that they need, and they're no longer being damaged by their addictions. They're actually in recovery. Unfortunately, probably only about 5 million out of that group. So, I mean, it's a big health problem, but the way to solve it is not by judging these people or calling them sinners or saying that their brains have turned to mush. It's about understanding how addiction affects human beings. It's been affecting us for a long time.
Why not leaf through a pamphlet on how to help people with a particular diagnosis, or how to be an advocate for people with a particular diagnosis?
So here's how he responds.
I'm sorry to laugh. You just said, also my bipolar is treated. I take meds every day and I see my psych regularly. Thanks for your concern. I'm doing very well regarding my mental health.
It's funny to him, right? So, I mean, he basically called Jay out, implied that somehow Jay was a danger to him physically, that this mentally ill person has me in his sights or whatever, and then goes ahead and laughs about it. And then Jay corrected him and told him that, hey, I'm fine. I have a job. I'm being treated for, whatever condition I do have. I mean, fuck. It just over and over again, these Christians are just assholes.
Remember
his stream or the actual debate?
No, this is on his stream.
Yeah,
of course.
Because
there was actually a Pocket Locker or Jay or Hunter Biden's laptop, whoever you want to refer to him as, was kind of doing a back and forth saying you're not in danger, because that was really a stupid thing for Sal to say.
Really stupid.
Yeah, and you're not in danger. I'm on my meds. I got a job. Everything's great, and but he was laughing at it because Sal maybe is a little afraid that he's mentally ill. Maybe. I don't know.
I'm starting to think like maybe the more we push back on him and like call him out, like the more insane he's becoming, I guess.
Yeah,
like,
well,
doesn't it kind of seem that way?
That's actually one way you can treat a person is with narcissism is to break him. At some point, he'll just fucking he'll have some sort of a crisis, and it'll allow him to start looking at his own behavior, allow him to start seeing himself. If you don't call him out, you just put up with it, you aren't really
And
doing anything.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, my hope for him is that at some point he's going to have a come to Jesus moment. I mean, literally a come to Jesus moment where he starts looking at himself instead of looking at other people.
Yeah, I
And
just,
understands narcissism.
I'm an atheist, but I have read the Bible and practiced Christianity, even a evangelical fundamentalist form of Christianity. But a lot of these YouTube Christians have just gone to the dark side, and I don't mean as in gone to atheism. I mean as in they become the Pharisees and the sinners that Jesus despised and preached against.
Yeah.
It's clear to me, but they're not going to listen to me because I'm a declared atheist.
Yeah, and that makes you worse for some reason.
It's really difficult to have compassion for these people because they are so mean spirited and in your face with all the dumb ideas and stuff. But at the end of the day, he is a human being and he's suffering from some sort of trauma in his life or whatever that's causing him to do all this bullshit, all this mean spirited bullshit. And the hope is that he will at some point come to realize it and quit YouTube for 6 months and come back as a different person. So there's that. But until he fucking does that, as long as he's publicly going out there with these really bad science arguments, I am going to push back on him.
Yep.
Oh, Dessel Drace is here. So we're going to premiere Dessel Drace's Russell interview. He gave us permission to do that. This channel
going to be opening it up sometime. Not saying now, but like sometime later.
Yeah, I guess we may as well run this right into the weather report and put a link out there and get people in.
Sorry, not trying to force you. So
midnight. Now I just want to know: is this protein thing clear? Did I make it clear? Why is it not a problem? Why there are multiple ancestries for proteins?
I mean, it seems rather obvious to me, so I think it.
I know.
Is pretty clear.
Well, I think all anybody needs to know about protein is you need about 20 to 100 grams of protein a day, depending on your workout schedule.
I guess so.
Yeah. I mean, if he's saying like protein family.
Hey, Midnight.
Hey, Midnight.
Hey.
Hey.
So I just wanted to come in here because it's like, what am I looking at here?
You just want to feel invited. That's all.
Well, I mean, yeah, I want to feel invited. I want to feel accepted. Is that so wrong, Scott?
FOMO. That's what this is. FOMO.
Yes, fear of missing out.
You're
Somebody
accepted.
gets it.
You're accepted. Good night. We accept you.
I was going to do a stream dedicated to you, just to you.
Then why didn't you?
I don't know. I haven't gotten around. I'm just getting the thumbnail prepared right now.
What is it? Is it white noise? Is it just white static? Is it static? It's just.
It's there. It is.
Let's see.
What?
Just
okay,
white.
Yeah.
Just
yeah,
white.
There's your thumbnail.
What is wrong with you, Speed?
I'm working on it. I don't know. I'm not sure if I got the shade exactly right. I'm playing with a few different things, but anyway. Okay.
You can make that the thumbnail.
Snack is an awesome thumbnail.
I did warn you about that.
But it's not albino. It's not albinous. What is that?
I did warn you about that, Midnight.
And you know there's a thing now called the snack attack because that's when the snack decides he wants to attack Thor or Loki.
Yep, the snack attack. I still haven't gotten a picture of him riding around. I tried to get pictures. I brought out the demonic Halloween mask. It's one of these rubber masks that you put over your head. And he was coming out. He was coming down the hallway, and I just went rawr and looked at him, and he just fucking flipped out. And he took off and ran into the laundry room, and then I took it off, and he came back out, and he looked at my feet. He's like, "Okay, he's got the same feet as the demon, but now he's back to grandpa. He's just. It's like he was very confused.
I love how high-strung puppies and kittens are.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. They can really jump high. So I had a little fun with them with the mask. I did that to my son too.
That is speed of sound.
Yeah, I did that to my son one day, and I had a similar reaction from him. He almost hit me. Pop up with that demon mask.
I wonder if Paleologos maybe can pop in. I'm interested to hear what he has to say about the debate, kind of a second opinion.
Yeah, well,
he did say something about it.
Now, another interesting thing that Aron brought up, and like Cindy said something about him believing in common descent. He said, well, it isn't belief. You wouldn't call it belief. Like we were talking about these holes that are created in rocks and streams by some pebbles get into a little pool or an indentation, and they spin around and around in a stream until they drill a huge hole in it. And, when you think about how that happened and when it happened, that sort of thing, you don't necessarily have a firm belief about when it happened and how it happened. What you do is you go out and you find information about it and you learn about it.
It's a hypothesis is what it is. It's an educated, I don't want to use the word guess, but it's an educated first explanation for it.
And if somebody came along and they had an alternate mechanism or way that these things were created, some sort of volcanic melting or some other, or maybe some sort of acid process or something, you'd say, "Oh, I believe in that."
Hey, hello, table man. I just noticed you.
What the hell is? Oh, okay. Did you? You were working on Randolph's website or criticizing?
No. See, Randolph is in the web development, right? But the way he does it, he uses tables rather than using flex boxes or he does it in a way that nobody really has done it in years. And he's like, I don't give a shit. I'll do it my way. I'm like, okay. Nobody gives a shit anyway. It just the website looks the same. So. That is funny. That is funny, Randolph. I still think, I still think you're my Canadian albino brother. Okay, I still see you as my Canadian albino brother.
Yes,
that's what you are. Albinism for not to win. Like, I went to the gym this morning, right? And rather than get an Uber, I walked home. Oh my God! I got more exercise walking home than at the gym.
Yeah, well, that's
fucking hell. And I had to deal with the sun. Like I'm pretty sure my back is red from exposure to the sunlight. Oh, I hate being albino or having albinism.
So you were shirtless when you came back from the?
No.
Okay.
Hey, look, it's Table Man. Where are the chairs?
So midnight, I'm half Irish, and I got my skin got the full dose of Irish freckles and a little bit of reddish hair.
But then you have no soul. You're a ginger.
Yeah. And I burn like crazy. I mean, I really can't tolerate sun at all.
Isn't it just amazing that the sun is 93 million miles away, and yet it still has all this effect on Earth and life forms on it? And
yes,
yeah,
we literally couldn't exist without the sun. It gives life and takes it away, like parents, like a fucking parent. The sun is the parent.
It's actually powerful enough to fry midnight like an ant under a magnifying glass.
Jesus Christ! Fuck off.
Did you know there's a very giant sunspot aimed directly at the Earth right now?
No.
Is there a thing called
I'm getting fixed.
X-burst or something like that?
That's fucked up.
You know how you can have solar flares from sunspots or whatever, or what have you, and it interferes with electrical stuff. There's like a 25% danger of that, I believe.
Oh, okay.
Nobody knows what I'm talking about?
No.
That's because you need to start going to
Looking
Earthmaster.
into solar news.
Yeah, if you go to Earthmaster, it will tell you about all the earthquakes going on a daily basis. In other words, every day there's an update. And then if there's solar flare activity going on or solar sunspots, it tells you about that too. It's a channel called Earthmaster.
And these aren't just cat-made earthquakes like in this picture here, right?
Cat-made earthquake.
Cat quakes.
Oh my God.
Or something just as catastrophic about to happen.
Yeah, exactly. That's a good one.
Imagine being in this predicament. Oh.
So Paleologos is asking about these rafting populations. Now let's see, I think in 1940s, where I come from, the Iron Range of Minnesota was an iron mining community, and there were a great deal of Finlanders that came over from Finland and worked in the iron mines along with bohunks, and which is my upbringing, and so there was a huge Finnish population, right? And up in northern Minnesota, white-tailed deer and deer hunting became a big sport. So these Finnish people got together at about 1940, I think, in Virginia, Minnesota, and they sent I think 8 white-tailed deer to Finland. They shipped them back there, and all but 1 buck and I think 3 females died. And today they have like 700,000 white-tailed deer, and it's a kind of a crisis. They're starting to what the hell happened to Snack? I think Snack actually came in through the cat door. Snack, was that? Wow. His first time.
By the way,
he's really mad because I forgot him out there for about 3 hours. But anyway, so very small rafting populations can, not all the time, but they can form populations that are perfectly viable.
By the way, Speed. Have you noticed what they could have said? What is whiter, a solar flare or a midnight boy?
Oh no! Oh my God! Oh, I left Snack out. I forgot about him, unfortunately, and it's really cold out there.
White cats can't jump.
And he's really pissed off at me. Well, not pissed off. He's kind of happy to see me. Come here, Snack. Snack, come back.
Snack.
No,
He's got mixed feelings of abandonment and relief. It's sad. It's sad. You've messed him up.
So
it'll take him about 15 minutes to get over this.
Yeah, but this is like a milestone. This is like getting your kids potty trained. He learned to use the cat door. He's probably
have to send you some Hallmark cards.
Yeah. Yep. Kitty's first cat door experience. Anyway, that was cool. So I did open the stream up. So
yeah, I'm here.
So is James still alive over there?
He was here in our side chat for a little bit.
Yeah, but is he still live?
I don't know. I clicked out of it.
Oh, let me see if he's still
Godless alive. Girl was doing.
He is still live.
Doing one of the Fodor arguments on him.
He's still alive. She's what?
Not.
Well,
I heard the word coextensive, so that tells me she was doing a Fodor kind of argument. So something Danny had done.
Snack, leave that cat alone. God damn it. Hang on.
Okay, now, Randolph, I'm glad that you appreciated that Earthmaster link. Yeah. I'm going to get you the link to GeoHubs, unless you're already subscribed or familiar with them.
Doesn't sound familiar to me. So
okay, that's a really good one.
Did you put the link in the public chat for people too? Oh yeah, you did.
It's in the public.
Okay. Yes, you did.
Yeah, the GeoHub basically spotlights individual places. But they're very short and very informative video. So I'll get that for y'all.
Okay,
Thank you. That's great.
The Earthmaster, it was. Let me put.
Yeah, it's in the private
Ah.
chat and in the side chat. The Earth Master.
I'm the Earth Master. How you doing?
Doing great.
Good name for you.
Sorry we fucked up your planet.
Confirmed. Midnight is an earthbender.
Yes. Actually, you know what? I'd rather be the Avatar, control all 4 elements. Fuck that.
No.
Although I would get, although I guess earthbending is pretty powerful. Then again, if you know water bending, you know blood bending. You can learn blood bending, and that is the most terrifying bending of them all. Jesus. Okay. So AJ, have you seen Avatar: The Last Airbender? Andrew, I called you AJ. Sorry, Andrew.
You mean the new one?
No, the 2005 TV show.
Oh,
Like, Avatar: The Last Airbender, not like James Cameron Avatar.
he's not responding.
Yeah. Oh well.
So what do we got here, Randolph?
Sorry, I got a phone call.
What the fuck?
Here's the other part. This cat's picture's been used all over the place. I think this looks fantastic.
That's what they do when they get excited. So
That's why cats have.
Yeah, back in about 1991 or something, my sons, my ex-wife, and I were watching TV, and we had 2 Saint Bernards and a German Shepherd sleeping on the floor, and then we had 3 cats, and I think a broom fell down on one of the cats, and the one cat jumped up 4 feet in the air, attacked the other cat. Then the third cat got involved in the fray, and then the dogs got all freaked out. And it was just like this quiet living room scene turned into this massive fucking pile of fur and fucking blood and flesh. And it was, and
This
I
is known as
jumped
the
up and-
Hurricane.
Yeah, I jumped up and I said, "Fucking knock it off!" And everybody just stopped dead. It was just the end of it. It's just like, but they were knocking over furniture, and it was just incredible. I mean, just like somebody lit a match. It was because like a broom fell down on one of the cats. Oh my God. Talk about a chain reaction. That was pretty cool. Chemistry cat is not impressed by what the fuck. Oh my goodness.
I thought you'd like this one.
Yeah, that's a good one. Anyway. Well, what are we going to do, boys and girls? Should we pick on Sal some more? So are they fucking really talking about 4-4? Oh my God, I should be over there. Oh, that is just such a tired old argument. So debunked.
Hello, Nestleg.
Nestle, our favorite debunker.
Oh, you have also seen the debate the other day?
What?
Your volume is really low.
I can turn you up.
Fix that.
Oh, shit, I'm sorry. I fucking
Is
did
it now
that.
better?
Yeah, it's better
There we
now.
go.
Yeah, it's good.
All right. But you have also seen the debate the other day. The
Modern
debate.
day debate.
Yeah.
I watched so far I've watched an hour and 20 minutes of it, and I have like 30 bookmarks. So,
Well, would you believe Greer just went live about 20 minutes ago?
oh my God. Well, yeah, he's trying to get his live before the weather report because he knows that I will crush him. I will crush him. But so this is our weather report for the day. I sort of took the week off. I'm rethinking the weather report, thinking that maybe we'll just do Fridays and Saturdays because it's kind of interfering with me focusing on other content. And I kind of want to do some Smell Cordova one-off arguments, basically to counteract his dum-dum.
Mm.
Yeah.
Speaking of,
God. Go
Oh,
ahead.
sorry. Go.
No, you go.
All
You
right. Speaking of debates, modern day debate, I think it's King Crocoduck versus Dr. McQueen on is radiometric dating reliable? So I'm looking forward to
Oh,
hopefully seeing that one.
I don't know if I have a little trouble watching modern day debates. I wish he would stop with the 2 versus 2 people things. Like if he just had one, just
Well,
two.
this one's a 1v1.
Yeah, and he wouldn't do that for Sal Cordova, and Sal wanted that. He wanted just him and Aron Ra, and that would have been a hell of a lot more focused. So
I think when there's somebody who's well known, he very often wants to bring more people in, just to help people get more exposure as well.
yeah,
He's pretty good that way.
yeah, but it kind of screws up the debate, I think. Especially when the debate that Sal had about a month and a half ago, where we had that Eric on there. I mean, they were coming from 2 entirely different places, and it just went all over the place. It just doesn't make any sense. I mean,
you got to have the right people. Like when me and Amy teamed up against Praise I Am That I Am and Matt on biblical slavery, that one actually went pretty good. But
because you were compatible in your beliefs.
the teams, yeah, it's harder to team people up when there's more, for sure. Yeah.
Was this Matt Slick or Matt the Fruit Bat?
It's just a guy named Matt who's a friend of Praise I Am. It's not Matt Slick.
Oh, is this Matt like friends with SFT?
Possibly, I don't know. I don't follow him.
Okay, fair enough.
I talked to him a few times there. He doesn't have a YouTube channel or anything, as far as I know. I've seen him on Clubhouse a few times.
Oh, okay. Maybe it's a different Matt then.
I'll find a link to the debate and you can take a look.
So I got to look this paper up. Chain extension of unique peptide isolate. Oh, I need to look this paper up. Thank you, Paleologos.
I gotta see that paper.
I got to see that paper because that's pertinent.
Secular pagan mom is saying hello, Speed.
Oh, secular pagan mom. I saw your boo earlier. She said boo yesterday.
She did say boo yesterday.
Said boo.
I'm still scared from it.
At first, I thought that was
I've got a therapy
I couldn't
session.
tell if that was boo to like scare you or boo as in like boo. This is a bad title.
No, it was.
But
It's
then I thought it was
October.
probably boo to scare you.
Well, I took it as a boo, so that's why the therapist, I felt rejected. I felt despised.
Oh, let's see here.
I just put the link to that debate in the chat, by the way.
Okay.
Right on the splash page, you'll see the picture of Matthew there.
Yes, secular. You're very scary. Your image right now is particularly scary.
Ooh, that is scary.
Ooh, that is scary.
So, what is going on? Oh, I stopped my camera. There's my camera. Okay, Matthew, Christian debater. Okay.
Yeah, I think on Clubhouse he's calling himself Matt now, but Matthew's the name. So Praise
It's a different Matt than I was
that
thinking.
that's his real picture, but other times he said no, it's not.
I will link that in the. Oh, that's on your channel. Good.
Yeah, I repost content I've been involved in later on, like debates and whatnot, debates and interviews. I usually wait at least a month before reposting though, so that I don't compete with the host's ability to monetize and attract new viewers and all that.
I didn't know that phrase I am wear a tuxedo.
To
You should ask Praise about it.
To totally change the subject, I was looking here at a headline on my recommended list on YouTube. It's the Damage Report, which is on the Young Turks channel. Dark Brandon's Joint Task Force, and since yesterday, that has a whole new meaning.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Yeah, the announcement at 4:20 p.m.
Yeah.
Yeah. Way to go, Biden. Way to
I
go,
mean,
Biden.
it could be a regular old joint task force, or it could be, shall we call it enhanced?
Well, I listened to, I think Fox News or something did a little segment on that, and they even admitted that it was a good thing, basically, to pardon everybody for simple marijuana possession and whatever. Do you hear about that, Randolph?
No, but that sounds like good progress.
Biden pardoned thousands of people that had federal charges for simple marijuana possession.
Oh, that's good. That's
Yeah.
been needed.
Yep. It was pretty awesome.
Oh, you've got the video playing here. So yeah, he's James has the music. I don't make any changes to the video, except one video I did once because I had used a wrong word, and that I have that documented in the description. But it's not this one. Then like he's got his splash screen, so I take half the time of that to put my splash screen up, and then the next half is his, while his music's playing, because that's his style, right? So,
oh, let's see. I'm opening 31 tabs. We'll see how that goes for me.
I have a long time ago I was doing a huge amount of work for quite a number of different projects, and I ended up with well over 200 or 300 tabs open. I forget how many now. So
yeah,
Opera handled it like a champ. Sorry.
So what the fuck? What is Google's Chrome? Okay,
Yeah.
Chrome every now and then it brings my Mac to its knees because it is a memory sucking pig. And it actually uses all the memory on my Mac, which I don't know, I got like 4 terabyte of SSD and tons of memory. But I mean, Chrome can bring it to its knees. It'll actually run out of memory.
So I like you might benefit from Opera GX. Opera uses the Chrome engine, so you get the benefits of all that, but you get extra functionality. Opera is a great browser. I use it, but Opera GX provides specific features that a lot of gamers really like because it lets you limit how much memory and CPU each tab uses.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So that'll help. Yeah, you see this is the only browser that does that, and it's free. So
yeah.
Unfortunately, they don't have a Linux version of that GX version, so I'm stuck with regular Opera here, but I can still limit stuff here anyway in Linux.
It runs on the Mac?
They have Mac, Windows, and Linux versions. There's also smartphone versions. The Opera GX is only Windows as far as I know. They might have a Mac version.
Okay.
But you're on PC, I think.
I'm on a Mac. So. Are we still live?
I hear you.
But everybody's muted. What the fuck?
I'm not muted anymore.
Everyone's muted. Oh,
Testing.
no.
1, 2.
Oh no.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah.
Good, and
Can you hear
everybody's
me?
not muted. Ness isn't muted anymore.
Well, you guys are muted. You like dead air, man.
I know that I feel so bad, but then if I don't mute, then my dog gets upset at something outside, and we all hear about it.
So this is July 22nd, 2022. Aqueous microdroplets enable abiotic synthesis and chain extension of unique peptide isomers from free amino acids.
Zoom.
I got to take a look.
We're gonna zoom.
Yep.
Sorry, I don't know why I just sang that song.
Yeah, well, should we shoot her in the head, guys? What's happening?
Well, we seem to have run out of gas.
Yeah, we've run out of things to talk about.
See, this is it. James can just keep talking and talking, and it's all interesting.
Yeah, I know.
We just like reach a point where we're like, "Yep, you got anything to say? Nope.
Nothing
You
to
got anything
say.
to say?
Didn't you say you had maybe something to say about Sal again, or?
Me? Oh, I got a whole bunch.
Like a few minutes ago, you said, "Oh, should we
do more cell bashing?"
Yeah. Oh yeah. That's what you said. Yes. But
I just wanted I wanted to pick one thing at a time and bash his head in on one thing. And today it was the protein common ancestor bullshit that he seems to think he's going to win a Nobel Prize for.
I also don't know where he gets it from. Like I asked, there's actually one question that I asked during the debate. Although there were lots of questions, and not every question was asked, so my question was probably not picked among the others. So, but still, I asked, where does he get the idea from that proteins are supposed to have, or to have universal common ancestry? Like we know that there are many there are like super families. Many proteins are related, but I've never seen anyone any requirement even for a universal common ancestry for proteins. It's a bit weird for me. Yeah.
It's so ignorant that nobody's even thought about it, so like when he keeps bringing it up in debates, nobody really addresses it because it's like, where the hell did that come from? And it's such a weird idea.
And the best thing I can think is that he thinks like, oh, if universal common ancestry is true, then therefore proteins must also have universal common ancestry.
Yeah.
But that's not, that doesn't follow. I don't see how that logic follows. I think that's a fallacy of composition. Like what's true for the whole organisms isn't necessarily true for the parts of the organism.
Oh, hello.
Yeah, that's what I drew here. Basically, it would be the idea that there was a cell with one protein in it, right? I mean. Right. So a cell with
a bunch of the same protein in it, or a bunch of cells all with the same protein. Yeah.
And that protein basically evolved into a number of different proteins. So they would all come from a single source. And how could a protocell exist with just one protein? It's just ridiculous. And he keeps harping on it. How do we stop this insanity?
Well, for one thing, I don't know. Maybe it's not a wise strategy to use, because then the person might have something in their armory, but for something like that, you go, I've never heard of this, citation needed. Ask the guy to back up his shit, and then when he can't or doesn't, then use that against him later, like in your summation. But like I said, I think it may be a case that while a lot of atheists have finally learned a lot about phylogeny and other things, they haven't learned a lot about the nitty-gritty details of cellular life, cellular development, and things like that. So it could be they're not challenging because they don't know what to say in response.
Well, that was the other thing about the debate. The debate was about evolution, right?
Yeah.
And so what the atheists should do when they get into a debate on evolution is, I will grant that God created the first eukaryotic microorganisms, like single-celled eukaryotic organisms. Just grant it that God did it, because there are some intelligent designers that believe that God backed a big dump truck up to the earth. Mm-hmm. Or a starship and dumped all the eukaryotes into the ocean. So just grant that. Now let's fucking talk about evolution, because they're not only denying abiogenesis, they're also denying everything that came after it, and they're trying to promote the ark, as a creation of kind. So, and they're trying to say that evolution could not have happened because there couldn't possibly be common ancestors. So let's talk about that.
And that's also a thing that I saw as well. Like I think that Sal is using what's called the Motte-and-bailey fallacy. I don't know if you have ever heard of it before, but basically the fallacy involves like you hold one very strong but not very easily defensible position, but instead of arguing for the position, you switch to a much easier defensible position. Basically, like Sal doesn't believe that humans share common ancestry with apes, and he doesn't believe that cats are related to dogs, but he won't argue about it. He will go all the way back to the biggest mystery of the first cells and such. So that's why he, that's to me, it seems to be the case.
What is the name of that fallacy?
Motte-and-bailey, and it's Motte, and Bailey, Bayl, I think, double L maybe, or maybe a single L, but EI. Motte-and-bailey.
Motte-and-bailey. Named after some people.
Niet after a town. Like one town is not well protected, and one castle is well protected. So it's basically an analogy between a more defensible position and a less defensible position. Yeah.
There we go.
Motte-and-bailey Castle. A Motte-and-bailey Castle is a European fortification with a wooden or stone keep situated on a raised area. Am I talking? Yeah, I am.
Oh, sorry.
But go ahead.
Okay, so we got to find the fallacy.
I've got the fallacy link. Look in the side chat.
Yeah, right. It's a fallacy. You can see it right there on the screen. The link, the page below that. There you go.
Got it. Right there. Okay. Cool. I'll put that in the description. That's a good.
You defend the easy and advance the controversial one.
Never heard of this one before.
It's a kind of a reverse straw man. Like instead of making a weak argument of the opponent, you make a softer argument of yourself. Basically, a more defensible position, a more defensible version of your own argument.
Cool.
And Sal doesn't want to discuss even the fossil record or the human and chimpanzee common ancestry or things like that. Like you always want to go back to the more difficult stuff. Of course that's what he want. That's what he finds the most attractive. Like, oh, I will pick the things that are the most difficult to explain. Still evolution scientists are still working on some issues, and that's where he focuses on. He doesn't focus on any of the issues that are already resolved whatsoever. That's what I see.
Yeah, listen to this here. Okay, this is.
He also gets very mad at some point. Was at some point they were talking about like fossils and things like that, and then Sal was like, "Oh, can you show me my slides?" And then he starts yelling about topo summer races and things. He wants to yonk the conversation back to what he wants to talk about.
Yeah, because the line of thinking to me is there are things that we don't know a whole lot about that we're still working on. There are things we know a whole lot about that do support evolution. And so what's the likelihood that Sal's right, that there's some in principle argument to be made that just means the whole thing is wrong, or that that he's wrong, or at least he's just as uninformed as anybody else, and there was a way for that, whatever chemical challenges there might have been to cells forming from, prebiotic conditions that got overcome. It's more likely that Sal's wrong and things did get overcome because the weight of the evidence from other avenues is so great. So therefore, we got to stop talking about all those other avenues. So he is trying to make the focus on his thing rather than the whole thing, the preponderance of the evidence.
There's also one thing, even Sal focusing on topo summaries, he actually shows a figure about topo summaries evolution, and he just says, "Oh, it's a big mess," and then he continues on further. He doesn't really explain the details of why he thinks the figure is a mess. He just says it's a mess and continues on. But I actually looked up the paper of that figure, and the paper itself actually goes in quite a lot of details into the possible origin of topoisomerases. Like I can read some lines. It says topoisomerases could have originated by combining protein modules previously involved in RNA metabolism, such as RNA binding proteins, RNA endonucleases, or RNA ligases. And it continues on further with that.
Yeah,
the cell doesn't even mention that at all. It just grabs a figure and dismisses it and continues on. Like it's really weird.
I found a dozen papers on topoisomerase evolution, and they basically existed in very, very simple forms in viruses, like very early viruses, and that's one possible source. And then there are several different. I think there are two different, completely different classes of topoisomerases that have a totally different structure and are not related. So they both evolved at the same time. And he doesn't mention any of that. Just how did they evolve? And he's asking people who have not looked at the papers, right? Which is completely ridiculous. But you want to listen to this little part where he goes hot?
Sure.
Can I get a word in?
Yeah, I need to correct what Chris just said. They're asking whether Chevy
you're right.
both humans.
Crane, please. I published on this enzyme. We estimate 60 some interface points to make this. This is difficult. I asked evolutionists how this evolved. They just gave me these circularly reasoned phylogenetic explanations. Has nothing to do with taxonomy.
Citation needed.
Without this. It also has to have reformatting in the nuclear localizations and a lot of other things in the prokaryote to eukaryote transition. There are other things with proteins that people seem to not ignore. That's one of my co-authors, published in Nature. We'll skip this. We can talk about topoisomerases.
That's a figure. That's a figure, yeah.
Yes. And I have 1 minute to go.
See, go back a bit. Go back to the figure again. Sorry, go back.
Yeah.
No, let him speak. Yeah.
Okay.
It's a mess.
Yeah.
He just says it's a mess. Like he just says it's a mess and then continues on. Like it's nothing. Like he doesn't have really a point here.
Yeah, and the fact that it's a mess shows you exactly how a complex system can evolve. You know, it all looks like a mess, right?
Protein architecture is the fit. There needs to be proper charge distributions.
And no, there does not have to be an exact fit. And Michael Behe does this too. He talks about this exact fit between these proteins. It does not have to be exact. If you pick any protein and you go to a connectome database for those proteins, you'll find sometimes 300 proteins that they will bind to some varying degrees, right? And that is the whole key. The whole things evolve. If they bind a little bit and then they bind a little bit more and a little bit more, then you're going to have a lock and key fit eventually. But the way amino acids work, and because amino acids have so many overlapping domains between them, there are many different ways that they can fit together and bind. And the connectomes will show you how complicated it is.
And shaping so we can get these induced fits. Delving into taxonomy doesn't solve this. I ask evolutionists all the time, how does this evolve? They say, we don't know. We have to thing. It's a face.
I just fucking told them how it evolves.
This is not typical Cell. Like I don't know why he's suddenly flipping out.
He does this
at this moment.
He's trying to match his perception of Aron, and also when your point is weak, you yell louder. That's just a rhetoric 101.
And there's one other thing you'll notice, that when he's in the room with a woman and somebody criticizes that woman, he'll start yelling pretty shortly afterwards. It's pretty. I know this guy. I know this guy real well.
Statement. And to say that somehow you look at the fossil record and you can claim these things, these complex systems like this, like the EZH2 can evolve, that's a non sequitur. And until you can answer that,
was good.
You
Yeah.
have a faith statement. That is not science. Thank you.
Wow. I noticed he kind of rambles on using the word evolutionist, which is obviously meant to be derogatory and insulting. So, I don't feel like he's working at this in a genuine way. He's resorting to using those kinds of terms to try to fire up the other people. And
Yeah, he's a little too performance artsy.
Fired up.
Okay, so listen to this part right here. This is something that Top Dog linked for us. And
Complexity. But then, we would have, I'm just conceding to you that with an old Earth, and you look at the pattern of biology, you'd have, it's hard to deny common descent. So I think we're on agreement there. And I've tried to tell creationists, don't argue that way.
okay, so that's it. That's why he won't argue about evolution. He wants to talk about his fucking silly ideas that he comes up with.
Original bust, basically.
Yeah, he thinks he's a cell biologist, and he's not. So he comes up with these silly fucking little one-off things like common descent for proteins, and that's all he wants to talk about. And that's why Aron kept asking him, did Noah put a whole bunch of cells on the ark? Were they cells or were they animals? It's like,
I mean, that is a good point. Did no one save 2 of every kind? Does that mean he saved 2 bacteria?
yeah.
To repopulate all the other bacteria? Or was it just the big animals? If it was just the big animals, how the fuck did they all fit on there? I mean, right?
Yeah,
I don't know.
Aron kept asking him, put a bunch of cells on there.
This is from the same paper that I mentioned before. Sal got this figure.
The
this is where the figure comes from. Yeah.
Yeah, and he always brings up the Forterri one.
Right, but it shows a pretty good point. It points out that you have different DNA or RNA replication systems, and so some of them require topoisomerases. Like if you have really large DNA genomes and the cells, you need the topoisomerases to prevent the topology issues. But if you have smaller genomes and RNA genomes, you don't need that.
Right.
So it's probably that the topoisomerase probably originated during the transition from small DNA or small RNA genomes to large DNA genomes. That's where the transition happened. Probably,
singular genomes for prokaryotes, a circular genome for early prokaryotes. When that transition happened, and the size got to a certain degree, that's when we needed topoisomerases. Yeah. And one theory was that they were readily provided by bacteria who had already necessarily had to be snipping DNA and inserting, their genomes, whatever. So there's a number of sources for how it evolved. And he keeps insisting, oh, they won't tell me how it evolved. Well, how the fuck are you going to? You're going to have to read this entire paper and the other 10, 15 papers I have stored out here on the subject.
It's also, this is also another last point that I find troubling is let's say this paper is completely wrong. Let's say evolution is false. What is his explanation for topoisomerases? He doesn't really have one. All he has is design, and that's it. The same answer for everything else. I don't know if you remember the one episode of Simpsons where creationism got taught in school, and Lisa came back from a test or from an exam in creationism, and Lisa was like, "Oh, we had a test today, and every answer was like God did it. Every answer was it way." That's really a good point, because it's the same answer, and it doesn't really answer anything.
Doesn't he cherry pick he cherry picks a quote from this Forterri paper, I think, from the abstract. Let me see if I got him. So was it 420? Forterri, let's see, origin and evolution of DNA type of topoisomerases.
I like Stephanie Tretton's comment. She's saying Aron Ra asked if cells on the ship, on the Ark, and Cell was lost, totally lost. Even she could not help. Wow.
Yeah, in other words, Aron's point is that you have to say that evolution is true at some point because there were animals on the ark, and they had to quote unquote evolve into all these other species, and the whole point was we're not going back to cells when it comes to the ark. So,
Right.
How do you explain this? Why are you
Well-
focusing on cells when it's obvious evolution is true? Because even from your worldview, because there were base animals on the ark that had to evolve into something else.
Now, if the question is just were there cells on the ark, then if the animals are on the ark, then yeah, because animals are made of cells and other things.
And once again, in his follow up the next day that we watched via Pocket Locker 86, Sal said there were points where he was making his points, maybe about the proteins or something else, and the Aron and Dr. Thompson didn't really say anything in response. And he's going, that's where I knew I had them. And I should have just kept hammering away about that. But then again, that's what Sal was going through when Aron brought up the cell thing. He didn't get it because he had never encountered that particular approach before. And so, it all has to do whether you can think on your feet or not.
I'd also like to know how the elephants fit through that door onto the ark.
Yeah, how big was the door? But then again, God closed the door, so he must have really caulked the seams really good. Some of that God caulk.
Boys and girls, this Dr. Chris Thompson has a channel that I'd never heard of before, and I got to subscribe to that.
Do you have a link, sir?
I'm putting a link out in
link.
I'm gonna put it in the description too. So how about that? Okay, so there's a link to his channel, so everybody should go check him out.
I'm gonna subscribe just because I know it must be good.
He's got twice as many subscribers as we do.
His channel ID happens to end with barbecue, so we know it's going to be really good.
He does. A year ago, he did a 30-minute video on neuroplasticity. I like it already.
Yep.
Oh my God, neuroplasticity! I love it. Sorry, I'm just sitting here doing nothing. I like to take up space. Kidding. Speed. What are we doing?
46 minutes on neuroscience professor destroys Ben Shapiro.
Jesus Christ.
Let's see.
He needed 46 minutes for that?
No, that was a 46-minute video. It's on a particular subject, but let me pull that up. On transgenderism. Wow. Okay.
Oh, I found another site on that. Something about truth. Some Christian going on about the war against truth. I was going to cover that on a different weather report.
The war against truth. Well, it's not the war against facts. I can tell you that much.
Well, he's claiming that
they have a war against facts. Sorry.
He's claiming that some teachers are arguing that 2 + 2 should be whatever answer the student comes up with, even if it isn't 4.
That sounds like philosophy class.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. But anyway, the war on truth. And of course, he gets into attacks on transgender and homosexuality and every other fucking thing on that.
Whoa,
channel.
Introduction to Neuroscience. He's got at least 20 lectures on that. Wow.
Yep.
21.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to this.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a good site.
Dang.
Now
That's
linked,
stuff, dude.
now linked in the description of this video. For
So Speed.
People who-
What are we doing? How are we doing?
well, nobody reads my description, so I'm always whining about that. Other than that, I'm okay.
Let's see. Let me not screen share. Reload, because reloading is fun.
I'm entering a new phase of life, by the way.
So am I.
Yeah.
Is it the
What if-
plasma phase?
Are you molting?
Yes, maybe. I don't know.
I'm actually molting. Started molting, and yeah. Anyway,
I am God. Maybe. No, I don't know. I'm kind of hyper today.
you are a little hype.
Speed, I don't know if you also saw that, but I was like after the debate, I went to like Amy's after show,
Oh, you did?
and there was like another person who showed a clip of you.
Of me?
I don't know, like I don't know what happened, why. Like it was really strange back then, but
On
like
Amy's after show?
yeah.
Oh, that's
But it was like everyone was like asking him like, oh, why are you showing that? And he wouldn't answer. And like Leo says, like, are you, or maybe somebody else says, like, are you showing Speed out of context or something like that? Like, and then it was a big mess. But I don't know what it was about. I have no idea what it was about.
Really? Okay, I'm looking at it now. I'm trying to find it. Let's see here.
I'm sorry, that's stuck in my head now.
Do you have any idea where it was?
It's a small
A bit further in. You should be able to see that there it is, I think. Yeah.
Right here.
Wait, was I there or is this something else? No, I'm everywhere.
Okay, I was talking about Rebecca and.
I miss Rebecca.
Who shared the clip?
I think Bubble in there.
Oh, Bubblegum.
I miss Rebecca.
Okay.
What do you mean? Is she?
She's no longer on YouTube.
Oh, what happened? She got kicked off.
No, I think she gave up
She
on
quit.
YouTube. Yeah.
She gave up on atheists, basically.
It's like,
thousand followers.
and I wanted to be, and I wanted to be atheist of the month at least once. God damn it!
I know, me
She got
too.
3,000 subscribers, I think, as I recall. She did really well. I was looking forward to having a chat with her one day, just on her show. You know, it's. I hope she comes back. She seemed really nice.
Hey, have you seen the clip that Nestle wants you to play?
Oh, I maybe you don't, because it's a clip from The Simpsons, and even though it's 3 seconds, maybe it's not allowed. Yeah.
Well, I don't know. Where is it? Did you put it in side chat or something? Or private chat?
It's a clip that I referenced before about Lisa saying, "Oh, we had a test today, and every answer was God did it." It's a funny clip, but if you don't want to show it, that's fine, because yeah.
Today we had a test, and every answer was God did it.
Awesome.
Well, that sounds like a religious school.
Yeah.
And every
shit! Stop it! Goddamn thing! Why did it do that? Automatically went to the next thing. Must be some sort of TikTok-y thing.
TikTok.
TikTok-y thing.
I shudder to think that my mom found TikTok. She's like, "Oh, hey, have you heard about TikTok?" It's like, Mom, what the fuck? Are you?
But in that clip at the Amy's after show, you said something about cancer and however, like
Just
I don't know.
midnight. Fuck you, Spooky. Sorry,
So-
I was looking at the chat.
I don't know what
Where I was talking about cancer evolving and the
I
importance.
think so. Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. I could play it and see. I hate listening to myself, but let's see what the fuck.
Finish our conversation here. We run in the same circles. I know a lot of your friends, so I'll get a hold of you.
What are you trying to show us?
Thanks, hon.
Like there's kind of a war and a little bit of a tug going on in the medical community now that evolutionary biologists are saying you need to look at cancer as a population of evolving organisms, and the medical community has not been used to speaking that
This is
way.
out of context, Amy. Don't get.
So why the hell did he pop that up?
I don't know. Like everybody was asking him, "Why are you showing it?" And then he wouldn't answer. Yeah.
I wasn't aware of this after show. I will link this in my description too.
And I still don't know why he showed this. Like, that's why I'm asking you. Like, why would he put you?
Well, he
like,
thought he thought I was that he thinks what I said was dumb for some reason because he doesn't understand.
Oh, okay.
And basically, I was talking about how the medical community they don't think in evolutionary terms, and there are a number of researchers in cancer that are trying to convince them to think in evolutionary terms, because cancer is very much an evolving system inside of your body that ends up killing you, basically. But so the trajectory of any particular cancer, I mean, that cancer is not going to get outside of you and reproduce, but it does evolve in your body while it's killing you. There's a definite evolution of cancer cells.
Although I've heard about that some scientists are saying that cancer is like a what you call it, an atavism, like it's a re-evolved protist. But those people are not really paid attention to. But I would still think that there is an evolutionary process going on with cancer development. Yeah, cancer
source is in the things that created you as an embryo. Those genes are still around, and if there's some sort of a mutation that turns them on again, then you will start developing you'll start developing new organs within organs, right? And of course, they don't develop with any purpose, and other than that, they will evolve as a population. And the ones that are successful are the ones that are going to copy the most, and they will suck up all the resources, and then they go extinct. They go extinct at the moment that you take your last breath. And so there's this idea in cancer research that they don't need to look at evolution, and there's another idea, an opposing idea, that yes, you do, because this is very important. You have to look at the evolution of cancer population. I think I estimated that my cancer had 100 million cells. And so you can think of a herd of gazelles of 100 million that were basically fighting it out. And, if they had broken off and gone to a new community like my lungs and set up shop, that new population would have developed and evolved, basically.
That sounds like major wars going on there.
It is. Cancer is a fucking war. And like that, the point where they metastasize, there's basically certain things that happen to the cells, whether it be in the cell membrane or some other system, and they will break out, and they will start to migrate, just like the tissues migrated when you were an embryo, when you were developing. It's that same tissue migration. It's called mesenchymal tissue, where it kind of breaks off and they float away. That's one of the mechanisms that you metastasize.
Okay, I've got a breaking news real quick. Apparently, Gutsy Gibbon has dropped a new video entitled "New Fossil Gibbon Just Dropped." Blah blah blah, and there's the link. It's in the private chat for the description.
You might want to post that again. It didn't.
What?
See, if you look at it.
Why are we echoing? Is it me?
No, it's Speed.
Why?
Speed, are you echoing again?
That is feedback. Why am I so loud?
Stop
am I too
screen
loud?
sharing, Speed. Okay, there you go. God damn it. Hot.
So somebody is at a drag race or something.
Okay. You know what? You could still click on it, but apparently when you go to the chat, it looks like the link is it's mushed together with the 2022.
Yeah, it does.
That's what I was trying to say.
Oh, okay.
Have I left?
No, but it's still echoing.
What the fuck? Okay, StreamYard has basically hung on me. I'm going to have to refresh. Let's see what happens. It's not even refreshing. Am I still live?
Yes, you're still live. I can hear. Whoops, he's gone. He's gone. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to talk over you. I just got excited about the new fossil gibbon, and I'm going to watch it as soon as I get a chance.
He'll be back.
Gut Sick Gibbon has a way of making you really excited about bones and fossils. Am I right? Am I right, folks? Anybody hearing me? Am I muted?
No, we can hear you.
We can. What was you say? Sorry, I was looking at something else.
I'm actually paying for this shit. Okay, am I echoing now?
No, not at all.
Yeah, that cures it. Like when you play a video every now and then, StreamYard loses its shit. But this time it lost its shit, so I couldn't even get out of the studio, and I couldn't even refresh the page. I'm losing my shit right now. So anyway, should we shoot?
I want to point out real quick, the only person that acknowledged me when I kept going, am I right? Am I right? Am I right?
You're right.
It was Maya Atkinson. I have to say thank you, Maya.
You are right. Anyway, so how long were we echoing?
Quite a while in internet time.
30 seconds or so.
That's forever in internet time. 30 seconds is like 10 years.
It felt like forever.
Maya Atkinson's a great supporter. I really appreciate her.
So wait, Speed,
Maya's the best. She's the star of the internet.
Wait, Speed. I thought we were running into the weather report. Are you going to shoot in the head and then do the weather report? What are we doing?
We just did the weather report.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah, now we're shooting it in the head. So,
a little note from Spooky.
So fucking dark. Whenever you say that, shoot it in the head. I know what you mean, but it's just like, come on, man.
I've got to make a phone call, guys. I got a problem with my family. That just popped up.
That sucks.
So anyway,
well, thanks for hosting this. It's great to chat with all of you. It's always educational, these streams. So keep up the great.
Hey, Randolph. I love the table comment. Okay,
I knew you would.
Okay. Look. One of these days, you're gonna have to show me how the hell you use tables to make a website, because to me it seems fucking complicated to use tables to make a website.
Well, back in like the 1920s, that's how we did web pages.
1920s. Computers didn't even exist back then. What are you
talking about? Back in the 20s, we would have to fight each other off of the street corners so that we could have enough space to make our web pages.
What is wrong with you people?
Yeah, this is my territory, and we'd throw cans at each other when we weren't like.
Okay. Speed, shoot it in the head. I know you got a family emergency. So
goodbye, cruel world.